Cersei Lannister is one of the most divisive characters in Game of Thrones. But if you're able to objectively look at her actions, you'll see that she's closer to a septa than she is a sadist.
So well said. And when we make this video, when we go into this, we're not trying to say that she isn't like a villain in this series. She's obviously an antagonist. She's obviously the person at odds with the heroes. We understand that. We're just trying to say that she isn't a walking monster like people make her out to be. And the crimes that she commits, a lot of times these things are justified. And when I say crimes, I do mean crimes. We're not going to go into every single bad decision Cersei makes because just like every other character, she makes an absolutely ridiculous amount of bad decisions. This is only the crimes. And last thing, if you guys like hearing us defend characters that desperately need defending like this, we actually just created a new channel where we're doing only that, and it's not going to be specifically Game of Thrones characters. It's fiction-wide. So go check that out. We'll have the link in the pinned comment. Let's get into it.
So one of the first things Cersei Lannister is accused of is killing her childhood friend Melara Heatherspoon. If you don't remember who this one is, she is the girl that goes to Maggie the Frog's little hut with Cersei when they get the prophecies, and she even gets a prophecy in this. So we know that Melara fell down a well, right? But we don't get a POV or any sort of objective view of these events. So when they point that this is Cersei's fault, how is there even blood on Cersei's hands for this crime? There's not. She did not do this. Come on, guys. People fall in the well to their death all the time.
All the time. You know, if anybody has to take blame for this, aside from Melara herself, who's clearly being, irresponsible, if anything, maybe I would say that witch is, right? Maggie, she's not the toad. The toad is from Dorne. What is she? The frog? Maggie the frog. Okay. If anything, maybe it's her. I got horrible vibes from her the entire time. She's just sitting there in a little tent. Like, yeah, come here, young girls. I'll read your fortune. I hate it. And I don't know. Cersei was also rude to this witch, and I think people hold that against her a little bit. Like, this witch is supposedly just telling her all these truthful, prophetic things, and Cersei throws something in her face and then bails, right? I do not subscribe to that whatsoever. She sat there while this witch told her friend, like, oh, sorry, actually, you're a fugly loser and you smell really bad, so you're probably just going to die super soon alone because there's nothing really left for you here on Earth. That's ridiculous. She's just setting these people up for failure.
Yeah, her prophecy to Melara is that the worms will take your maidenhead, which means, for anyone that doesn't speak Westerosi or, the medieval time, you're going to lose your virginity to the worms. It's
Die virgin, yeah. No, I know, right, exactly. It's really rude. And then she moves on to Cersei. Cersei's kind of betrothed to Rhaegar covertly at this point, right? So she assumes she's going to marry Rhaegar. It's like, actually, you're going to marry the king, not the prince. It's like, dude, come on. That's such a cop-out. Rhaegar was on track to become king. So it's just like, she didn't predict anything. She didn't predict. If she had said, you're going to marry, like, the stag king, then it's like, okay, that's a little more direct. But this is just luck of the draw.
I mean, if you compare her to Mary Mazdur, like Maggie the Frog, I hate Maggie the Frog. Mary Mazdur is a champ. She saved us from the stallion that mounts the world. But she says that the Valonqar will choke you or wrap his fingers around your neck and choke you out. That Valonqar, that is such a blanket. It just means younger siblings. So a lot of people will point to that prophecy and go like, that means Arya could do it. So any person who's a younger sibling could kill Cersei, and then Maggie the Frog is automatically right. I don't want to go down a whole Maggie the Frog, why I hate her rant right now, but the reason why these are so important is this is fuel for Cersei later in her life on decisions she makes that seem irrational, but because she makes the perfect guess that Melara is going to die a virgin, and at least die like this night or like very soon, and she actually does by falling down the well, that Cersei now thinks there's like validity in all of these prophecies. And as like she marries a king, she's continuing to think like, man, she's 2 for 2. Like, can she be beat? Can this Maggie the Frog ever predict anything incorrect?
Well, that's exactly right. And she's traumatized by this. Bear in mind, this happened to her as well when she was an impressionable little girl, right? Like, this is super young. This is traumatizing. This hut was weird, right? This had some weird shit going on in this hut besides just the prophecy. It's not something that a little child should go through. The Valonqar, there's no evidence that that's legit. We have yet to see it. Same thing with Cersei having children and then her outliving her children. There's no evidence of it. I understand Joffrey dies, but this is Westeros, all right? People are dying left and right. So far in the books, she literally only has 1 child dead of 3. So it completely invalid. That's normal. That's a normal day for your average Westerosi parent.
George is turning on Maggie the Frog. He's like, yeah, actually, these prophecies suck and I hate her. But also, I don't mind that Melara Heatherspoon died. Look at their sigil, dude. It's just a spoon. George, my guy, I love you, but give this family more of a sigil than a diamond back with a spoon with a cylinder behind it, a white cylinder behind it. You know, like what kind of sigil is this, dude?
It's very straight. It's all disjointed. It's out of nowhere. If I saw that thing marching toward me in the battlefield, like in my support, in my defense, whatever, I'm switching sides. I'm switching sides right then.
You jump down a well?
Yeah, they make a Ring sequel about me.
Okay, what about the next crime that she commits? This is early on, the treatment of Tyrion. And this is, we're getting the close, like, is this actually a crime? This is just more of a mean thing she does. But, we get the detailed breakdown assessment from Oberyn Martell about how she treated him by, like, pinching the tip of his penis so hard.
Yeah.
But just overall, her treatment of Tyrion early on in their lives. What is your defense of this, Gator?
My defense of this is that, again, she's a young child, and she legitimately believes in the superstitious world of Westeros. Like, science is primitive, medicine is primitive. She thinks that Tyrion is responsible for her mother's death. That's just the way that she sees it. He is a weird little demon child who looks super messed up. Tywin is obviously not giving the greatest vibes toward Tyrion, which she is absorbing as the daughter, right? Jaime is, defends Tyrion quite a bit, but Jaime's ultimately a simp for Cersei. So if Cersei wants to go after Tyrion, Jaime's not going to put a total kibosh on it. Only when, like in this situation, only when Tyrion starts screaming in pain does Jaime make her stop. Like in general.
Right.
He's kind of like, yeah, okay. It's kind of interesting you're doing that. He wasn't going to stop it.
Maybe me next.
Well, definitely him next. Also, it's not just her immediate family. It's everybody that she interacts with surrounding Tyrion. They have to hide him when people come to visit because he's such an abomination. This little shit killed my mom. This is what she thinks.
Yeah.
He's lucky that all I'm going to do is squeeze his tip to the point where it's about to come off. Like, he's lucky that's all I'm going to do.
I also think her hatred of Tyrion would be the same if Tyrion was born a dwarf or not, right?
Exactly.
If Tyrion was born regular size, she would still think this kid, this little boy, killed my mom. And then on top of it, she gets the Maggie, the frog, like we just talked about, the little prophecy of the younger brother killing her. And she already knows Tyrion has a track record of killing people that are close to him. Well, why wouldn't she think that this Tyrion is this little imp monster that she sees, or even if he was regular size and normal, wouldn't come after her? So, yeah, she's not in a great spot, but she's a kid at this age, right? And
yes,
we'll just say Tyrion doesn't do himself much favors later on in life to dissuade her of this suspicion. Or
no, it's exactly right. If a 7-year-old finds like their parents' gun and they go up and they're like playing with it irresponsibly, even if they know it's a gun, and they aim it and they shoot at somebody and it kills them, and then the kid drops the gun terrified, and you're like, oh my god, like, I shot this person. Do we blame the kid? No, we blame the parents. That's how it works.
Right.
So
now, what do you think about her affair with Jaime? Like just her general relationship with Jaime, because they start at a young age.
Yeah,
they start doing some unsavory things. What is your defense of this crime of her having this affair with her twin brother?
Well, the initial crime of the incest, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially in Westeros. We are told that this is a normal thing for elite families to do, the most elite people, right? These are the Targaryens,
right?
And it really, even from the Starry Sep's point of view, it's the marriage that's the problem. It's not even necessarily the sex, right? So prior to Cersei getting married to Robert, this is just masturbation at most with these two specifically, right? Like, I guess it's incest if you're really like, all right, if I'm looking at it with squinty eyes, like, yeah, the fine print says it's incest. But really, these two look almost identical. No one can even tell them apart. One's got long hair, one's got short hair. It's masturbation. Not to mention, Jaime is a super cool dude. I think that the morning of the wedding thing, right? Like Jaime and Cersei had sex the morning of the day she was going to get married, right? I think that was meant to be a grand finale, like a big seaman send-off. I think so. I think it really wasn't until Robert made it clear that he wasn't interested in Cersei, only Lyanna, a.k.a. Bussy Ned.
Right.
Yeah, of course I'll marry you, Lyanna Stark, of House Stark, resident of Winterfell, damn you. It's only when that happened that Cersei's like, well, shit, I guess I was going to go all into this thing, but if you're not going to go all in, I'm not going to go all in.
No, I totally agree. And also something they charge her with a little bit here is the grooming of Jaime, that Jaime was kind of wrapped around her finger, that she kind of brought him in and was able to. It's the classic case of Jaime putting the sussy on a pedestal, right? That he just, that's all he wanted. And now that she has him wrapped around her finger, that's where they say, Jaime only joined the Kingsguard because Cersei convinced him to, right? Which, if you want to say in defense of Cersei here, if it wasn't for Cersei doing that, Jaime wouldn't have saved hundreds of thousands of people from the city when the Mad King was about to release the wildfire in there. That, we can thank Cersei for that. Thank you, Cersei.
Thank you, Cersei.
For grooming Jaime, because otherwise we wouldn't have saved all these people. So
right, yeah, like the ratio of good to bad that this did in the end is actually great. I don't find it to be a problem whatsoever. The actual sex and affair thing, not to mention we know that Robert is having affairs as well. So come on, I mean, we kind of should be equal and opposite, the husband and the wife. Yeah. I really do think, and you strike me down and let the worms take my anal virginity for making this reference. But
your anal head.
Yeah, my anal head. But before the whole Ross and Rachel thing happened, like where he said the wrong name at the wedding, I don't think it was even on the table. I really do think that Cersei intended to end the Jaime thing right then and there. I'm not saying it's Robert's fault, but you got to understand where Cersei's coming from. I don't think she committed a crime by this.
It does feel like there were two gears that were just not synchronized properly, because if they were, because Cersei loves having sex, so she needs to get her satisfaction somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Robert would have been able to give it to her at the rate which she probably wanted, but yeah, they just could never get in sync there. And like you said earlier, incest is only good for Targaryens, but no one else can. Yeah, I think it's funny that people will point at Cersei for doing this horrible thing with Jaime, but when King Jaehaerys was basically doing this with his sister wife, it was totally cool and kind of badass, and he kept it secret, and then he came out with her later. It's like, come on, guys, just be consistent. What about the orchestrated death of King Robert Baratheon? What do you say about that crime that she's accused of?
I don't think that this was an orchestration of Cersei whatsoever. I think that this was, I wouldn't even use the word orchestration, but this is basically the fault of Bloodraven walking into that boar, or I guess worst case scenario, right? Most normie take that's legitimate. The boar was a random encounter. Like, what did she hire this boar to take out Robert? How could she possibly have known? Like, the only comment we get regarding the wine that he was drinking afterward is that it was stronger than normal, and just given his weakened state, it ended up taking him. There's no way Cersei could be blamed for this death unless you're trying to tell me that she somehow orchestrated a wild animal attacking Robert on a hunt. There's no way.
Right. With no other people supporting him, which in the books, the hunt is closer to like what we get in House of the Dragon, like this big orchestrated hunt.
Yeah.
That's what George wanted for season 1, but the budget for HBO wouldn't allow them. So it kind of just looks like they're on a little adventure with just a couple guys out there with a spear. So it should have been a way more controlled environment than it was. What did Cersei do? She just gave Lancel a higher percentage of alcohol for the king. What does Robert want to do? He just wants to get shit-faced. Of course, if anything, it's on Robert's fault for not controlling his own alcohol levels. If he was just drinking and he's like, oh, wow, this is hitting me a lot faster. It's like, yo, then slow down, my dude. You can't get mad at me because I gave you a higher percentage of alcohol in your drink and then you decided to, drive. That's on you.
Yeah, this guy wants to party, and what's the stereotype? Like in any fiction ever, somebody gets like a cut, like a bullet wound or whatever, somebody brings him alcohol, and you think like, oh, he's going to just pour it on the wound. What do they always do? They pour it on the wound and they start chugging it for some reason, like to maybe blunt the pain receptors like in your brain or whatever. It's an obvious thing. Like if she didn't give this to him, somebody else was going to. It's not like he was like, oh, well, I believe this is my normal wine alcohol content, so I'm really going to pace myself here. It's like, no, he's going to get as shit-faced as humanly possible. It's not on her. It's not on her.
Well, what do you think about the fact that Cersei gave no heir to King Robert? She basically cuckolded Robert and only gave him incest babies, which, I mean, these are kind of two crimes, but they're really just one here, right? It's like, hey, she cuckolded King Robert, but it was through incest, so it's kind of like a double whammy here. But what is your defense of Cersei doing this to Bobby B?
Well, first of all, it's true. It's undeniable. She did get like a back alley abortion of Robert's kid that she had growing in her. But this is a period we have to remember where Cersei was being intentionally or non-intentionally sexually abused by Robert, right? Like he was hurting her. And I'm not saying that he was trying to do that. He was drunk. It is what it is. But she was not happy with this. She knows that this man who she loves so dearly, or potentially loves so dearly, is in love with another woman / another man. That would be Lyanna and Ned, right? She made this decision in haste. It was a crime of passion. And I have no doubt that she spent hundreds of hours repenting at the Sept to make up for this crime. And I believe that her 3 successful, these beautiful golden children, Joffrey, Tom, and Marcella, are proof that the 7 have forgiven her fully for this deed. She would never do it again. Listen, she would never do it again. She's never had another abortion. She would never do it again to Robert or anybody else.
Also, can you just imagine, because Cersei basically grows up with the mirror reflection of herself, but as a man, Jaime, right?
Yep.
She's probably thinking like, dude, can you imagine if we could just have like, if this could just be how everyone looks for like the rest of time, me and Jaime. So then when she has these babies with Jaime, she's like, dude, Joffrey is supposed to be like this, I don't know, a spitting image of Jaime, but like very close to looking like
a specimen, dude.
Yes, he's supposed to look great, and the casting in Game of Thrones is great for acting. But the look is supposed to be way closer to like a Prince Charming than it is to be a I don't know how you describe Joffrey's actor, but he does not look like Prince Charming.
Difficult to describe.
I cannot put into words how this guy looks.
I really can't.
But yeah, also some of the Cersei not giving an heir to Robert might just be a little post hoc rationalization, like or justification, I should say. Oh, I didn't give him an heir because I didn't like him. It's like, well, maybe you just like couldn't bring him to term, Cersei. You ever think about that? Like maybe Robert's seed was a little too strong for you. You ever
Busted.
think about that? So, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of things in here we could go into why she didn't give him the heir. But what about ordering the death of the direwolf as well as the butcher's boy as they're coming back down from Winterfell? Well, she orders the executions of these two.
Yeah, it's like, what is she supposed to be like, the Jane Goodall of wolves? And Jane Goodall, Gorilla Grodd. Got myself psyched up for a second. No, but it's like, does she have like a wolf persona here? This is a wild animal. Okay, this is actually a wild animal. And for all she knows, Joffrey's story, her son, is accurate. For all she knows, that story is true. And speaking of wild animals, the Hound acted on his own with the Butcher's Boy. He saw that as a personal challenge to take him down. Butcher's Boy, his reputation precedes him. I don't think that Cersei necessarily gave that exact order. I think the Hound was pretty liberal with his interpretation of her words.
Yeah, if you don't fear the Butcher's Boy, you haven't watched enough of our content, because I think we go into quite a lot of detail about this guy and his skills. But also, yeah, the whole Starks are bringing down these wild animals as pets. Dude, I think CPS needs to be called on our boy Ned. Like, hey, like you cannot do this. Like wild animal, like a wolf with your children. Like, they're not domesticated, you idiot. And then now bring him down to like the most populated city within Westeros. Like, just not a lot of brain power by the Starks. Not their strong suit.
Well, dude, one wolf with like a pack of kids, that's a huge danger. But no, he's matching them. He's matching the numbers 1 for 1. He's got this like, it's like shirts versus skins. It's wolves versus kids. You can't have that many of these guys interacting with each other. And now you're taking the wolf out of its environment that it grew up in, like this comfortable north where it likes. Now you're down in these kind of warm areas. It's definitely stressed out. It's meeting all these new people. There's a lot of tension involved in the air. Dogs can sense emotions. It's not a good situation. I wouldn't kill the dog. Okay? I'm a huge dog person, but not everybody is. And Cersei just saw that this dog, this wolf, assaulted her kid. I don't blame her for this.
And also, wolves or just animals in general are huge on sense and smelling. And what is the most disgusting smelling place in all of Westeros? King's Landing. You bring them there. It's just a disaster. So after Robert's death, Cersei then orders the execution of all Robert's bastards in King's Landing. My justification is it's her life or her kids' lives. Yeah. She has to make a choice in this matter. Like, hey, do I want to leave the evidence of, for whatever reason, Magnum PI Ned Stark was able to investigate and able to figure out the missing or the clues that actually black-haired or dark of hair, right? Children come from Robert, and all this is evidence against my son's ascension to the throne. Yes. And if someone was able to use that against us, it would not only endanger my children, but myself. So it's either the bastard's life or her family's life, and that's an easy choice for a mother.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these decisions here, it's just kind of Cersei spiraling, right? Because the things that she's done to craft her situation, it is built on a lot of really shaky ground, right? And it's really easy for this stuff to like domino effect, and one thing leads to another. Plus, again, we mentioned earlier, the foundation of this is she has this childhood trauma of this witch predicting these very specific things, 2 of which have come true, 2 of which have yet to be seen. But she does not want that to be the case. She's going to try her best to make sure that this bitch is not accurate, right, with her life. No one wants to feel like they have no control over their life. And if things just keep happening, that's exactly how you'd feel. It'd be like, dude, no matter what I do, I'm going to end up at the place that she tells me this is bullshit, So I understand why she did it. Again, I wouldn't personally order the death of all these kids, but in her situation, and understand too, this is still Westeros. This is this feudal society where these like lowborn individuals and bastards, like a specifically disrespected class, these people do not have the same a human value that the elites do. So, again, is it a crime by today's standards? Yes. Is it a crime by those standards? Probably not.
Well, this is her also taking inspiration probably from her father, where Tywin with the Reigns of Castamere, right? That he was able to take out this whole entire house and would do anything to ensure his family's the dynasty. How does he say
dynasty? Dynasty or whatever. Yes.
That this is something that she would think Tywin would do, but she just doesn't have the proper execution to do it, to calculate the risk to ensure that there's no blowback on her house. And that's later on, all of these crimes that she does too, it's exactly that same thing. She's trying to use the Tywin method, clearly doesn't have the baseballed brain to manufacture the right situation for herself, and that's why we're getting a lot of pushback instead of like a perfectly executed red wedding like Tywin did.
No one can properly utilize a Tywin method but Tywin.
What about her affair with her beautiful little cousin Lancel? Or as we call him, Lentil Lannister.
Yeah, Lentil. Dude, I mean, listen, as sad as it is to say, like you said earlier, a woman has needs, right? And it's not like she's married at this point. I disagree with this whole thing, but you got to admit, man, she's keeping it close. She's keeping it in the family. It's not like she's going out and like having sex with a random dude she's meeting down at Flea Bottom. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's nasty. She's not whoring herself out to random men. No. She does keep a certain standard. She keeps a certain standard, and that standard is shiny gold, valuable, royal, or if not royal, adjacent. She could have picked worse. You can. Yeah. It's not that bad. I think that the worst part about this is what ends up happening down the road. Like this, we'll get there, but there's another crime that she commits because of this one, or that she allegedly, I should say, commits because of this one. It's a justified crime. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get there. But I don't think this is that bad.
Yeah, this is not as bad as like Kettle Blacks, anything like that, right?
No.
But Lancel is her cousin, but Tywin also married his like first cousin, so that's not out of the realm of possibilities of a relationship. If anything, it's just because it's out of wedlock that this relationship's happening. That's the crime of it, not the incest at all. Right?
I think people bitch because they say like she's cheating on Jaime or whatever here, but again, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot the part where they were like going steady. Like show me that that set of dialogue. It's BS, man. Yep. Plus, Jaime almost plugged Brienne of Tarth like how many times?
Oh, I know, dude. He was just edging himself, just like, yes. I can't. I have to hold it for Cersei. Also, this is the only tool that Cersei has in her like kind of arsenal of things. She could have a lot of tools if she actually applied herself properly, but how do you defend her continued treatment or hatred of Tyrion Lannister, her younger brother? Because we see them kind of, going back and forth here a little bit in season 1, season 2. He's handed the king, but as soon as Tyrion then actually is framed basically for the murder of Joffrey Baratheon, and the trial goes on, and then just the aftermath of that. How do you defend her actions here against her younger brother?
Well, it's just that she gets into conflict with him when he comes back on Tywin's orders to be hand of the king, kind of rule in his stead, and she kind of has her whole situation set up there. So I understand the frustration. I'm not saying she's right, but I understand the frustration there. But nothing that bad even happens. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Tyrion's one ends up poisoning her for a while, or like sedating her. You know what I mean, drugging her. So it's like I'm not sure how offensive what she really did to Tyrion was. She just defied him, kind of shored up her ranks, right, until Joffrey's murder, right, where she blames him for this. But I don't think that she's just using this as an excuse here to Tyrion. She believes that he did this. She believes him, Tyrion, to be her intellectual and like scheming equal, if not her superior dude. Plus, she knows that Tyrion's willing to threaten her kids, like Tommen. Remember that when Cersei was going to kill that southern Islander whore, that prostitute, and Tyrion's like, dude, if you do anything to that Southern Islander, I'm going to do the exact same thing to Tommen like 10 times over. Like, if you take her to pound school, I will bend over Tommen and take him to pound school, and it's going to be easy for me to do. I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yeah, why was that the tip of Tyrion's tongue? Kind of
I don't know.
That's not my first insult or what I would say to some person. But,
no, but it freaked the hell out of Cersei, dude. She's like, holy shit, I'm going to back off. So yeah, when suddenly Joffrey turns up dead, it's like, I wonder who it was. This guy I've been having constant conflict with and who clearly does not want my son to be in charge. Maybe it's that guy.
Well, he also sends Marcella to Dorne, right, for that alliance. And that's also kind of like another thing that's like, listen, you're taking everything I love away from me. But that's before, right, the death of Joffrey. But yeah, let's just sit in Cersei's shoes here for a little bit. Her mother's killed by Tyrion. Then she witnesses Joffrey killed by, she presumes, Tyrion. And then after that, after she thinks like, oh, hopefully now he's going to die because the Mountain had the last 2-minute warning, fourth quarter comeback against Oberyn Martell and squished his head like a watermelon, that she thinks like everything's going to be good. My son, my brother is going to be put to justice. He's somehow able to climb within the walls and kill her father. She doesn't have a great relationship with him, but she still, I think, deep down kind of, respects this guy, and he kept her safe. Cersei has to be going insane, and we kind of do see that in her mindset, how insane she has to be going right now, because Tyrion's literally taking away everything in her life, and it's probably the reason why I think it is the reason why she burns down the Tower of the Hand, because she's like, dude, this guy's in the freaking walls around here. This guy is a little spider. He's like everywhere and nowhere.
He's a little creep, and yeah, dude, this is the Valonqar, according to her. Like she thinks that this guy is going to be the one that kills her, and tell me this wouldn't if you were in her situation. Tell me this wouldn't, like, no matter how much you want to resist that prophecy being true, it is going to make you think, like, oh my God, it's literally going to happen. I'm doing everything I can to get rid of this dude, and he keeps doing these ridiculous, impossible feats that no one would have ever been able to do. Regular-sized people of much greater ability. Arthur Dayne couldn't pull these feats off. Barristan Selmy couldn't pull that heist off to kill Tywin, but Tyrion does it lickety-split. It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, I'd be extremely scared if I was him. I do not blame her whatsoever. She sends these, kill squads to go take out whatever dwarves are out there just to hopefully, throw a dart at a board and hit Tyrion. I don't blame her for that, man. It's her or them. And it's not just her, by the way. It's her and what she sees as this big political structure that she's like keeping afloat, and her kids. So
right. Yeah, and it makes total sense why then she orders the death of the High Septon, because even though this High Septon was looked at as like a more pious guy, it's Tyrion's appointment. And also that she learns that Lancel confessed all these crimes to this guy. It's like, dude, shut your freaking mouth, Lancel. Now I have no choice.
Loose-lipped Lancel.
Also, it is a great opportunity for her to orchestrate her perfect plan to arm the Faith Militant that will definitely not backfire on her.
Dude, that's a base decision. First of all, you can't trust a twink. We learned that, so I understand why she killed the High Septon. But yeah, the Faith Militant, listen, King's Landing, it's lost its way. It lost its way a long time ago.
Yes.
It's time to whip these people back into shape, clean up King's Landing, Flea Bottom, all those brothels. I would love to see a mini-series, a limited series about how the Faith Militant just destroys those things, turns them into like educational institutions. Who knows, right? Who knows? Sometimes you need a little authoritarianism to, reestablish order. Small scale. Look what we see in House of the Dragon, man. What happened when Daemon took over the Gold Cloaks? Was it brutal? Yeah. Were there probably some innocent people, caught in the crossfire? Absolutely. Right. But those streets were cleaned the hell up, and in the long run, people were appreciating it. When he was gone, people were like, oh, man, I kind of wish Daemon was back here. I bet it's going to be the same way when the Faith Militant is gone.
Yeah, I think Cersei's all for it, except, it kind of comes backfiring on her a little bit. But,
that's not a crime.
Listen, it's kind of, she's kind of living up to these standards because, like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And the reverse might be true, too. Like what's good for the gander might be good for the goose, because we see her eventually she kind of, she doesn't use the whip on Tommen because she can't do that. But she makes Tommen, when he talks back to her, go whip Pate, the whipping boy, until he bleeds from both cheeks. That is the punishment and I don't know if you consider this a crime, because I think this is just up to the standards of what is expected out of royalty and how you punish people in this time. I don't think what she did in this moment is considered a crime whatsoever, but I just want to make sure people are like, well, what she did to the whipping boy? It's like, dude, his name, he's literally a whipping boy. He's not the give hug and kisses to boy, right?
Yeah, well, I sometimes get those two confused, but yeah, no, he is. And it's one of these things. You do have to view this in the era that it happened in, right? There's so many atrocities that happen throughout all of history, and we just don't view them in the same light as we do in the modern day. It's not accurate. Anybody that tries to do that is being intellectually dishonest. It doesn't need to be said. We know it's true.
Now, a lot of these things were like very like kind of evil things that she was doing crimes-wise. But, when you make an agreement and you break that agreement, that is a crime. Her defaulting on the Iron Bank. Gator, how do you defend Cersei for being so brave in this
effortlessly? This is super based. This whole debt-based monetary system that Braavos has, Westeros in, such bullshit, predatory loans, big bank in bed with the big corporations, Big Sid's in there, big time.
Big Sid's probably.
Oh, dude, these people, these oligarchy, dude, no bueno. We need to decentralize this thing and put control back in the hands of the states, like the separate kingdoms. No more central banks, no more private central banks of Braavos being disguised as an actual government institution in King's Landing. It's bullshit. Somebody will take a stand eventually, you know? It's like Social Security in real life. Eventually the Social Security is going to run out. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to have to be, like, there's going to be one of these generations that's going to have to be the one to accept, yeah, I've been paying into this my whole life and I'm not going to get a payout. You know what I'm saying? At some point you have to just cut it off. And Cersei did that, you know?
Yeah, where did this debt come from? Robert's
parties
and everything.
It's not even her
the
debt.
War of the Five Kings. Yeah, it's not. She did not choose to be in this situation, but she's doing. You know, someone had to pull this Band-Aid off, and I'm glad Cersei's doing it.
It's like very similar to in House of the Dragon, or you know that era, the Dance of Dragons era, where you have all these lords that did in fact swear loyalty to King Viserys, right? But then Rhaenyra comes about and says like, well, you swore allegiance to my father, so I am the one you must have allegiance to now. And these people are like, dude, that was my dad. That was like my great-grandfather that swore allegiance to. I don't give a shit about that. That's not me. That's not
that
me.
guy sucks.
Yeah, that guy sucks ass. We all hated him. I paved my own way. You know, it's the same way here. It's like I did not take out a loan for 3 million golden dragons to have a random tournament that no one came to. You know, that wasn't me.
All right, what about her most recent crime she's committed, and it's framing of Marjorie Tyrell within King's Landing for crimes of, I think it includes incest, but you know, just being a little skank.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like a virginity check on Marjorie. Okay, I don't buy it for 1 second.
Yeah, I would too. Yes,
I don't buy it. Listen, I like Marjorie, but I'm not buying that for 1 second. It's not like she's been playing lacrosse or soccer. Okay, those maesters or septons are gonna be able to get in there, figure this thing out, lickety split. You know what I'm saying? How she did it though, Cersei, by like she had sex with, you know, whatever kettle black it was, and convinced him to like kind of help spread these rumors. Definitely unsavory, but it might be another one of these situations where she like thinks that all of this is true, you know, to a certain extent, and it's just like there's really no way to get the truth out, so you kind of have to create an adjacent truth that's actually a lie in order to give somebody the punishment that they actually deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. You have to kind of manufacture. It's not the exact thing like that they got Al Capone on, which is just like what is it, bad taxes or something, or some sort of accounting crime. But again, let's get into Cersei's shoes here for a second. One, she has the Maggie the Frog prophecy of like a younger, more beautiful queen's gonna basically dethrone you, and she looks at Marjorie and she's that intense, right? She's beautiful, she's smart, she's amazing. She's actually, you know, whenever people say that you guys are misogynistic, it's like, dude, look at how we glaze Marjorie. It's like the only simp-worthy woman within Game of Thrones or in Westeros currently right now. And on top of it too, I think Cersei sees in was it in Tywin's room, she sees like an old High Garden coin, or is it House Gardner coin? Basically, a coin that she sees this coin that she also hears from another source that Lady Olenna has like a bunch of these coins in her room. So she's like, oh, I'm trying to put two and two together. Dude. She's being perfectly set up here, but this is by a mastermind like Varys. Like Varys is just trying to create this tension between the two. But for her to be mad at Marjorie and try to go at her in some sort of way to take her down, like it just makes sense, not only personally but also for her family at this point.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you got to frame her for something because you know that she's guilty of something, even if it's in the future, right? This person's going to usurp you. It's going to lead to the death of your kids. You got to do something. It's like if you know somebody's a murderer, right? But they covered it so well, it's impossible to get them on it. It's like, maybe you have to murder somebody else and then plant the evidence as such that the person that you know murdered the original person is going to take the fall for this one. And by the way, dude, you spoke a little bit too soon, man. You said that Marjorie is the only simp-worthy woman, and then you named Olenna like 3 sentences after that. Are you shitting me?
Oh, dude, give me that gilf now. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not, we don't care.